guys, welcome back to Life with Twinsies. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Charles.
Today we're discussing Power Season 4, Episode 4. We're in this together.
This is a big rich town.
Yes.
I just come from the poet's part.
Okay guys, so this episode gave us so much information, so many big shockers. I mean, if you guys are feeling like we are, it was just like, I felt like I got punched in my stomach with some of this stuff.
A couple things, like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Absolutely. We open and Ghost is working out, getting his workout on, looking good, and Officer Williams.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Whenever you in jail lifting weights, you got to watch your back.
Yeah, and he's going to come in there and press the weights down, that was his mistake, because everybody makes a mistake in this series, like they say. But his mistake was running his mouth too much and letting them know that, you know, an inmate had died last year under the same conditions, and, you know, the video doesn't work in there. So, bad move.
Yep.
That's going to come back to bite him in the butt.
Yes, he's going to get out of there.
But from there, we go to the scene where all the attorneys are meeting, and they're like, yeah, we want him to get the needle. Everybody's co-signing on it. Even Angela, yeah, we're in this together. They want Ghost to get the needle.
That's not what Angela said. Angela said that we want him to go to jail. And then they all started saying, we want him to get the needle. So she said, well, we in this together.
Yeah.
She didn't actually say she wanted to get the needle.
She didn't actually say that, but given that answer, though, they got the, you know, response from her that she concurred on what they were saying.
True.
Okay, and you know, they were discussing, Mock pulled her aside and was like, hey, you know, I know you went behind my back and offered that deal, but what happened if he accepted it and then I refused to honor that? And he was like, don't go behind my back, but then again, I need you to go back to Tasha.
Right. So,
crazy, sticky.
She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it.
And from there, we get the gun talk, okay? So Proctor and Silver, they're meeting with Ghost again in the jail. So after Silver says, you know, is there anything else I need to know about the gun? You know, Jamie, he's obviously frustrated with everything that goes on, and he's starting to lose his temper a little bit. And Silver's like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. You can't lose your temper on the stand because they're going to try to make you another angry black man. And Ghost is like, no, we good.
They ain't mine.
Right. When Silver walks out, Ghost pulls Proctor aside, and he's like, hey, I need you to find out what you can about Marshall Clyde Williams. You know, he died in the prison. See what you can find out. Because Jamie's going to try to piece this together, you know, and so they can get Officer Williams up out of there. So, Ghost also asks Proctor to look into Tony Teresi's involvement into a possible murder with this guy, Roberto Stelletti.
Yes.
And he said, see what you can find out about that and get back to me.
So from there, Crystal Ball comes to drop his money off to Julio. And then Julio are wondering, hey, man, you late. What's going on? So he said he had to stop by and pay respects to his boy because Tommy that roughed him up a little bit. So he ran over, broke his leg. So he said he got to go check him out.
Yeah, and I mean, Crystal Ball has no respect for Julio at all.
Yeah, Crystal Ball sitting there now he's trying to play him.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to act like, okay, Tommy don't got no respect for you, so why should I have any respect for you?
Right. He lets him know in this game you gotta earn respect, and right now you don't have it, bro.
Right.
And they're going back and forth from English to Spanish because some of it he don't want his guy to hear.
Right.
And so he goes up and he gets closer to Julio. Julio gets closer to Crystal Ball, and he's like, I'm sorry about what happened to Domingo, but you know, you guys gotta have some respect for us. You can't just be doing this.
Yeah. And then he tried to play it off and say, okay, I'm gonna talk to Tommy about it.
Which you already know he ain't gonna talk to Tommy, whatever.
Well, he gonna say something, but you know how Tommy goes, hey, you respect me, or this is what you gonna get.
Right, and Crystal Ball said he already knows that Tommy and Julio are not on the same page.
Right. So, but he's using that to play him. So everybody's trying to play each other and try to get if you in the clique, they try to get that clique broken up.
Right. Okay. So Proctor tells he finally tells Tommy about Teresi, and Tommy's like, who is this? You know, he's trying to piece it all together in his head. But you know, when Proctor tells Tommy, you know, when you go there and make the drop, ask them about this guy Scaletti. Right. And Tony's like, huh? Tommy's like, okay, I got you. So obviously that name Scaletti, this rings a bell with Tommy too. Right. So, you know, all Proctor had to do is tell him that name, and he's like, all right, I already know what to do. I'm gonna handle this. Angela got on my last nerve this entire episode. I mean, I know she's on a lot of people's list right now, but I really was not feeling her this episode. And she asked, she wants to meet with Tasha again. And so she's asking Tasha, well, did he tell you about the deal I offered him? Trying to get a reaction out of her. And Tasha is not the best liar. She's just kind of like,
eyes tell the truth.
Yeah.
The eyes will tell.
Right. And she's just like, and I don't like that every time they meet, Tasha lets Angela get the last word in. And that really annoys me, first of all. But I mean, she's obviously not going to snitch on Ghost. I mean, I don't even know at this point if it's in her best interest to keep meeting with Angela. Right.
And I didn't like Angela this series either. I was digging her every other series, but this one right here, yeah, she got underneath my skin a little bit.
And why was you digging her?
Because she's a lawyer. Her and Ghost have history.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, moving along, y'all. So from there, Tariq is still hanging out with Kanan, drinking that lean. And right now, he's eyeing up this chick that's in there now, that's hanging out in there. And I'm telling y'all, when I first saw him eyeing her up, I said to Charles, I'm like, oh no, I cannot watch a sex scene with no kids. This is just...
I knew that they weren't going to do that. They weren't going to take it that far.
Yeah, just enough that hinting, suggesting that was just enough for me. And I'm like, no, Tariq, come on. So Julio goes over the truth and he asks Dre, why didn't you show? And Julio can't get no respect in this episode. I mean, Crystal Ball not giving him no respect. Now Dre not giving him no respect. And Dre just gives him some BS excuse. Like, yeah, I was tied up with club stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Here's the money.
And Julio asked him, he's like, why did you tell Tommy that I was in there with the feds longer than, I was in there with the feds longer than you were? And he's like, I didn't tell him that. And I'm like, come on now. Dre is really playing a dangerous game here. He's really trying to get this beef between Julio and Tommy.
He don't have to do it. It's already brewing already.
Yeah, but now he's making Julio think, oh, I got your back. I'm doing like you said. I'm just moving these drugs.
Well, Tommy didn't actually say that. He just asked him a question. And then he jumped to the conclusion. And then Tommy told him, hey, I didn't say nothing about Dre snitching.
Yeah.
He said, okay. So he looked at him with that look, like, you must be lying.
Yeah. So Tasha and Keisha are at Tasha's house, and they're talking about this, and Tasha's letting her know, you know, he was offered a deal, and he didn't tell me about it.
Oh, yeah, but we forgot that one part. When Keisha walked in and saw that...
Looking around, oh, you got a new man up in here, Tasha?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing that worries me about that. Keisha, it's just more red flags for her because she already said to Tommy that Tasha takes everything from her. She can't know about us because she'll try to take that.
Right.
And I think most viewers would agree that nothing's going to happen between Tasha and Tommy. Oh. I don't think Tommy would ever take it there. No. That's his boy.
Yeah, and she won't do that. She won't do that to Ghost.
Right.
But she might sleep with his driver. But she ain't gonna sleep.
But that's as far as she'll take it.
Yeah, she ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna do that with Tommy. But Keisha doesn't understand that. She don't think so. Keisha's on a different wavelength.
It's the jealousy thing,
that jealousy thing is stepping out front.
Yeah.
And she ain't liking it.
And yeah, we're not done with that whole piece right there with Keisha and Tasha. And there's going to be more to this story, you best believe. Tasha goes to the jail to meet with Ghost. And of course, it's a recorded line, so she can't really say too much. But she's like, hey, I heard you were offered a gift. And she's like, I was offered a gift. Your friend offered me a gift as well. And Ghost is like, but I didn't accept it. And this whole thing, it's just like, by them not being able to really communicate, you know, it makes everything so much harder.
Right.
So Tasha leaves there with giving Ghost the understanding that, you know, there's going to be no more decisions made without discussing it with her first.
Right.
And that's how she ends it. Angela tells Mock, hey, Tasha's not going to flip. I went there, I tried her, and it didn't work.
Right.
And Proctor, he files the motion to have the gun evidence suppressed.
Yes.
Before they went to the scene where Agent Donovan takes the witness stand, Dre and Crystal Ball had the talk.
Yes.
At Truth.
Yeah, but then they see when they have these talks, I think they setting up stuff.
Absolutely.
Because Dre knows that, okay, Julio's girl is in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that girl gonna report back to Julio. So he's saying certain things when she walks around, when she comes up. He's saying certain things to Crystal Ball. So she like get those words and then go back and tell
Yeah. Dre is a fool, but he's not a fool.
Yeah. He's one of those scared fools. Like,
yeah, he's thinking things through, and staging, setting up things, saying what he needs to say to whoever,
right.
to get himself in a better position. But at the end of the day, Dre's looking out for Dre.
Yes.
He wants to be the distributor. He's trying to figure out how
to stay alive.
Yeah, yeah. He's very much like Ghost in the sense that he's working things through in his head to try to get to an end result, and we don't really understand everything that he's doing just yet. We
right.
only see pieces of the puzzle, and we haven't got to finish his end result.
Right, right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what he has planned out in his head. But him and Crystal Ball is definitely on his team, and he's liking what Dre has to say, and he has a lot more respect for Dre than he has for Julio.
Yeah.
Now, this is where we finally get to the courtroom scene when Agent Donovan is on the stand, and this man loses his temper. Now, anybody that knows, they know that lawyers, that's what their objective is. They get up there and they try to push you to talk more than say more than you should say, or they try to get you angry so you can show emotion. Right. Everybody knows that that's what a lawyer's job is. They provoke you, and he just fell for it. I'm
trying to figure out how did he fall for that, because he's been in this thing for years. He's been in law enforcement for years. So how did he fall for this little okie doke trick right here? But when you push things like your character out there, and then how you do your business and how you perform, then that can get on your skin and get you out of character.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice how Sandoval was just sitting there, like it was making him real comfortable.
Yeah.
He was squirming in his seat.
When he went there and said that Greg Knotts knew who was the mole, he was like, who was the mole? In his eyes, you can see it in his eyes. The eyes never lie.
He's like, who did he tell? So Tommy goes to make this drop off of the $20,000. He gives it to this guy Sammy, and he shows up at the house. He's knocking on the door like, am I in the right place? I got a delivery for Tony. And this guy Sammy, he's like, yeah, come on in. And Tommy's looking around, and he's like, so this is what retired gangsters, this is how they live. You sit here and watch Judge Judy all day. So he's feeling this guy Sammy out, and I think in this situation, a boss recognizes a boss. And it was so funny when he went in there. I was just like, Tommy kind of looked like them. He kind of reminds me of them.
Wait a minute. They favor a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're related, but I can see him being related to those people.
Right.
So, and this right here, I knew it would come at some point, but I guess I was kind of surprised at the point where it happened. But Proctor calls up Bailey. Right. And he's just like, Bailey's like, why should I be talking to you? And he's like, it's in our best interest, because he's like, you want to prove that Knox was innocent. And he said, I believe that Knox was innocent, that he wasn't the mole. Right. So he's just like, what kind of evidence do you have? And Proctor's like, is it a recording?
Because he was fishing, because he knew that why aren't they calling you to the stand? Mm-hmm. Well, you supposed to have this timeline, and they're not even calling you up. They don't have you on the list.
So he knows there's something up.
Let me figure out what's going on with you.
So Bailey agrees to meet with Proctor, but he's like, no, I'll meet you at your house. Right. Yeah. So this gets really
bad move.
This gets really messy, but
you should have met him like Angie met at the coffee house.
So then we go back to the scene at Sammy and where Sammy and Connie is, and I guess this is Connie's house, and Connie overhears this guy Sammy talking to Teresi on the phone because Teresi had called him from jail, and he says it's him. So you guys, it's looking like all these people that, as we said in our last video when we were discussing some of the theories and stuff that are out there around power. If you guys haven't seen our predictions video, please go back and look at that. But it looks like
it wasn't we. Of course, I didn't believe it. It's giving a little more information that he could be, but we got to figure out this whole thing.
Yeah, and so it's looking like Teresi is in fact Tommy's dad. And Connie, though, when she kind of blew up on Sammy and she said, you know, I overheard what you said. What do you mean? Who's this kid that came here? And she's like, Tony never kept a secret from me. And she's just going off. And Sammy's like, you know, no, just calm down. I'm just, you know, looking out for you and your best interests and stuff. But when she finds out that, you know, Tommy is really Teresi's son and he never told her about the son,
all these years,
Miss Connie ain't gonna be too happy.
No.
I mean, that ain't the kind of thing you want to keep from your spouse.
Yeah.
So Lakeisha and Tommy are talking in the next scene, and which ultimately leads to the second sex scene between Keisha and Tommy. Lakeisha wants to know, you know, where did you go after I left? And I think she was trying to see like how honest Tommy was going to be with her. And he's like, look, I told you I got to look out for Tasha. And, you know, she wants to really go deeper, but Tommy is really good at like changing the subject, and you know, and then it goes from there into the sex scene. But this stuff with Lakeisha is really gonna get messy. Yeah,
she got that jealous streak. Yeah, she ain't feeling all this you and Keisha, you and Tasha hanging out this close. Cause now you my man. I know y'all was hanging out close before me.
Yeah.
But that's gotta stop.
Yeah. Then we go back to little sneaky behind Tariq, and he's talking to another one of his friends from school, and the guy's punching in his security code so they can go into the house and play games, and Tariq is right behind him, like watching the numbers he pushed so he can text it to Kanan. Now he got his classmate drinking the lean too. They all in there getting tore up. So Tommy and Proctor meet, and Proctor lets Tommy know, hey, Bailey's got some evidence and I'm gonna go meet with him. And Tommy's like, I'm gonna be there. That was a bad move. I understand he's trying to keep Tommy up to date on everything, but knowing that Tommy is a hothead and he can't be controlled, he should have withheld that information right then and there, which is later gonna come back to cost him, but
yeah.
So Tommy gives Proctor the paper with the information on it that he got from Sammy when he went to drop off the money to Sammy, and Proctor takes that into the jail and he slips it to Ghost. And he said, you know, regardless of what's on this paper, make sure you destroy it when you're done with it. Now, the crazy thing is, at this point, we realize that they are freezing all of Ghost and Tasha's assets.
Yes.
Tasha goes to the school and she went over to have a conversation with the principal, and she's just like, hey, by the way, you know, your tuition check bounced. And she's like, you know, you have until the end of the week to pay it, or you know,
well, they're gonna be suspended.
Yeah. That's crazy. And Tasha's, I'm not sure where she's going to get this money from at this point. I guess she could use the drug money.
They got money.
Yeah. I guess she's going to have to use the drug money to pay the kids' tuition.
But then you got to be careful, because now, if they freeze your assets,
they're going to be like, where you getting the money?
Yeah. Where you getting all this cash from?
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, a friend gave it to me. Like, because Keisha's stuff is frozen too.
Yeah, and Keisha calls Tasha, and she's irate at this point, and she's just like, they closed down my shop. They closed down the beauty salon, and they closed down Truth.
Yep.
That's crazy. But, you know, it's the
did they close down the laundromat?
No. But I don't know if they're still running that. We don't know if they're still running that, because I haven't heard any talk of that this season yet.
Yes, they did. When Julio was in lockup.
Yeah, he mentioned it, but they haven't actually showed them actively running that business.
Right, but it's still around. You gotta have all these fires in the iron.
Well, I'm thinking if they're closing down everything, and then they're gonna get that one too. Because I mean, Keisha's name was still on the shop, but it also had Tasha's name with it too. Tasha and Tommy, so they closed that down. So Dre shows up at the spot with where Kanan is, and everybody, man, they partying up in there. Everybody getting high, drinking, smoking, you name it, is going on in there. And a side note from that, they still in this old lady's apartment who Kanan killed. I'm like, how come nobody has come to check on Miss So-and-so and how she's doing, and nobody has seen her, but all of a sudden it's all this traffic in and out of her apartment.
And why everybody partying in her house?
Right.
Old lady partying like that?
Nobody, I mean, neighbors, nobody got any questions, suspicions, when her, when's her rent due, nothing. It just seemed a little odd to me. But anywho, Dre goes there and he's telling Kanan, Truth got shut down, they freezing everything, I'm not going to be able to make this payment next week. And Kanan like, that ain't my problem, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, it's Kanan, come on. So in walks Tariq, and Dre's like, what the heck is Tariq doing here? Like, and Dre confronts Tariq, and he's just like, you need to leave with me. And Tariq is like, nah, bro, I think I'll stay. Because, he think he a man now. He ain't trying to hear nothing from nobody.
I'm going to do what I want to do.
And then he go in there with old girl. He looking at her again. And Kanan's like, let me introduce you to this. So now he's smoking weed.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, why don't you go in there with her, shit, you don't have to pay or anything like that. So they go back, so Tariq goes back in the room with this girl, and they obviously know what they there to do, but they're just talking, small talk, where you from, and she's like, okay, she puts Tariq's hand on her leg, and I'm so glad they didn't show what happened next show. I cannot, with Tariq, I cannot.
Nah, I don't want to see it.
So, moving right along, so from there we finally get the meeting where Bailey goes over to Proctor's place, and they're talking about the evidence, and he plays the recording for Proctor, and Proctor's just like, oh man, and he realizes that also on that same recording is Tommy killing Ruiz, or I can't pronounce his name. Yeah. So it's Tommy killing him, and he's just like, man. So Bailey's just sitting there talking to Proctor, and here comes Tommy's ass, y'all. Tommy stabbed this man up, and you thought it was gonna be Sandoval. Man, Tommy killed him.
Tommy ain't no joke.
Tommy plays no games. And I mean, I understand why he did it. He did it because he knows that Proctor has been talking to Ghost, trying to get Ghost to flip on Tommy, and he's just like, now there'll be no snitching. Now he's like, hey, we in this together. Yeah,
that's the name. That's the name of the series. We in this together.
Yeah, this episode was titled "We're in this together." Now everybody in it together, because Proctor can't say nothing against Tommy now, because Tommy got this over him. He's like, hey, I can murder somebody in your place, and you're an accomplice.
Right.
And my whole thing is, Proctor lets Tommy leaves out of there, and he's like, I'm going to handle this. And Tommy tries to take the laptop, but Proctor's like, no, I need to find out what's on this.
And if you made any more copies.
Proctor, my whole thing is, he didn't tell Tommy to take the body or nothing. He just automatically knew what to do. What kind of lawyer is he? He know how to get rid of evidence, clean up a body, clean up blood, everything.
You see what kind of lawyer he is from the get-go. Lawyer that wants drugs for his ex-wife, a lawyer that runs around with criminals, lawyer that get people off.
He must
That's
have
kind of lawyer you need.
He must have a cleanup crew to come up there and clean up all that blood off the floor. That was crazy.
That's the kind of lawyer you need. That's the kind of lawyer you need to have in your corner.
But my only concern about that whole situation, guys, is if you remember from the last episode, this guy barely records everything. And remember, even when he went to the bar and he was talking to it in his tape recorder and saying that he had met with the prosecutors, and I'm like, he definitely probably made a record of where he was going and when.
Right.
So if he comes out missing, there could be.
But it's on his computer.
Maybe, yeah, maybe so. Or unless he had a backup somewhere, but who knows?
Hopefully they check his body before they ship him off to where they gonna ship him.
This could get messy. So we go back to the prison, and Ghost and Teresi finally have this talk. And Teresi's like, yeah, I heard Tommy made the drop off, same time, same place next week. But hey, he's like, I also want to meet Tommy. And Ghost is like, not gonna happen, Teresi. And he's just like, now, this is when Ghost turned on the blackmail.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what about Scaletti? And he's like, I'm in here for multiple life sentences. So if you tell them about Scaletti, he's just like, what's that going to do? Just add more time to what I got? He's like, no. He said, I'm sure the Scaletti family would love to know that you and Sammy were the ones responsible for the death of him. And also, poor Connie, she out there by herself and sick. How you think, you think she's going to be safe? They know where she lived.
Don't talk about a man's wife.
Yeah, and so Tony ain't playing. He's a boss too. He grabbed Ghost by the throat. He's like, don't mention her name.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to hear that come out your mouth. But Ghost obviously got him by the balls, and he ultimately backs down. And he's just like, all right, we're cool. For the moment, you know he's gonna come back with something else.
He don't take that lightly. Now they gotta go back and rethink things and reset everything up so he can still get that money for his wife.
He's the same kind of man as Ghost.
Yes.
So you best believe that he's coming back. He's like, okay, what my next move is. This ain't the end of Teresa. So we go back to the courtroom, and guys, I did not see this part coming.
I knew it was going to come up because we kept saying it, that they haven't mentioned that. They haven't mentioned it.
The conflict of interest?
Yes, they haven't mentioned it. They already know that, okay, Proctor had represented Tommy, and now Proctor represented St. Patrick. They knew that from the beginning.
Right.
But now they bring it up because they're losing ground.
Yeah.
They losing a lot of ground, so they got to bring something else up. This Proctor guy, we got to get him off the case because he's eating us alive.
Yeah, Proctor's a beast. And, so they go back in the judge's quarters, and the lawyers are discussing, and Mock is like, look, he needs to be pulled off of this case because there's obviously a conflict of interest going on here. But also, the judge is able to get the gun thrown out.
Yes.
So they're not able to use the gun now. However, Proctor is off the case, which is crazy. He's not going to be able.
He's off the case, but he's not off the case.
Right.
He's going to still do some stuff behind scenes and try to get his boy, because it's still his boy.
Yeah.
So.
And it's at this point though, they're all together. So if Ghost and Tommy go down, Proctor's going to go down as well.
Yeah.
And so Silver is going to play a much bigger role. And obviously, like a lot of people were predicting a romance between Silver and Tasha, I can now see how this is going to play out. Silver's going to have to take a much bigger role, and they're going to have to get really close to Silver. And how far can they really trust him? We don't really know a lot about Silver's character, so we don't know if he's kind of like a dirty, crooked lawyer like Proctor.
I don't think he's like Proctor, because he's looking at Proctor like, okay, I saw you and I see the way you work, and what you got? What you doing?
He's gonna have to get his hands a little dirty here in order to win this case. So maybe that's where Tasha comes into play and her influence.
Right.
This is the thing and then Mock, he already stabbed Proctor by getting him thrown off this case, but now he's trying to twist the knife in the wound because now he's trying to have him disbarred.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So Proctor, he's like, he don't know how to handle this. He shows up at Angela's apartment.
Drunk.
Drunk. Angela's like, hey, how do you know where I live? She really don't know the man she's dealing with. She really don't know too much about
everybody know where you live.
Yeah, that is true.
Go spend there.
But, Proctor's trying to tell her, he's like, he didn't do it. It's not his gun. It's not his gun, Angela. And, he's so adamant on this that it leaves Angela thinking like, So when he finally walks away, she goes back into her apartment, and she reaches out, and she's like, I guess one of the lawyers, and she's like, I need to see the surveillance from Truth. Now, this is where it gets interesting.
Yes.
So she's looking at the surveillance from the club on her computer, and she sees that Mike Sandoval was the last one who accessed it. And she's looking at it, and she's just like, hold up. This, at no point do you see Ghost actually go over behind the bar and even plant the gun.
Right.
So she's just like, he never left the gun. So now she sees that, okay, something's going on here and he's being framed.
And you see that he chopped that tape up because he dropped the camera so it doesn't show behind the bar and you don't see him come in the office.
Right. Right. The timing of that tape is going to be crucial.
Yes, yes.
So guys, this episode, there was so much information. I feel like there's so much that we can say and kind of break this down. So we're going to post a couple more videos this week for you guys, just discussing this episode and what to expect in the next episode, because if you watch the preview, oh boy, I mean, just the preview alone, it gave you so much. And I know that you guys out there have your predictions on what's going to happen next. We have ours, so stay tuned for more videos this week from us on Power, and we're going to break this preview down for you guys and share our thoughts and find out what you guys are out there thinking.
Right.
Yep. So until the next time, guys, we'll see you later.
A block away from heaven. That corner 15 minutes and move a 7. Pure snow. Bag it, then watch it go. Occupational options. Get some blow up some.